If you could save a chicken or say a rape, who would you save?
Perhaps the rape. Okay, so don't you think your argument is a bit more moral than actually being, like, I feel it is based on the assumption that killing animals is a bad thing or an evil deed. But like, we cannot really know if it is good or it is evil. And then in that case, other question would be that how do we even know that animals have the equal value as that is of the humans? So how do we know that?
Good, actually, that's a good question. Are you a philosophy student?
Yes.
That was quite philosophical what you asked. Okay, fine. So firstly, I think you might agree with me saying that if you were to ask me what is objective truth in this world, I don't think objective truth exists. There is no objective morality. How can we say that? Because morality and all this comes within the existence of human mind. If we were to remove the human mind, if human species stops existing, objective truth stops existing, what we call as it, because it's only from a human perspective, right? So I would argue, first of all, that objective truth and objective morality does not even exist. Do you agree with that or do you disagree?
Yes.
You agree with that?
I agree, but I disagree that there is no objective truth.
You think there is or there isn't?
I disagree that there is no objective truth. I believe that there may be some objective truth.
You believe so? Based on what do you say that? If you can first just talk about that, then we'll go to your questions, yeah?
Okay, so for example,
if you could just talk into the mic, that'll help.
Yes. So objective truth, it may be the existence of something, but then that is not relevant to the exact topic of our discussion.
Are you talking about a being like God?
No.
Then what do you mean by that?
The existence of something. So for example, I am thinking of something. I'm not thinking, sorry. So like there is something that is thinking. And therefore it exists because it is thinking. So I believe that is perhaps the only truth that may exist.
I agree.
Other than that.
But the point is that again comes from a conscious mind. It could be a human, it could be a pig, it could be a cat, my dog.
It could be something else.
It could be anything, an alien, whatever it is. But it comes once again from a biological organism's mind. From that organism's perspective, like I would have had certain things happen in my background in my life that gives me a certain view and a different angle on certain issues in society than probably you or he or her, right? So again, our angles change. I would say if we again were to search for objective truth cannot exist without a mind. Agreed? We need a mind.
We do not know. We cannot know.
You're saying, okay, fine. Leaving that aside, what I am saying right now, at least in terms of veganism, is when you say I am making arguments like, killing animals is inherently evil or it is immoral or wrong, I am trying to extrapolate that directly from what we humans currently hold as values and beliefs that we have used to build the current society that we live in. Human rights, we again, from a human-centric perspective, we form certain views based on the needs and necessities of a human being. For example, we do agree that all humans are equal, but we cannot grant necessarily equal rights to every single human. For example, a person who is visually impaired cannot get a driver's license, right? We again have to base it based on some of their biology as well. That's not discrimination, that's just practicality. So we say that a human, able-minded, able-bodied human deserves the right to education because this human tomorrow can contribute to society. They can take part in whatever voting system and stuff we have, and therefore contribute to that. So that means I would argue that it's not the fact that you are of the DNA Homo sapien that you deserve rights, but also you're a human with certain particular characteristics that you embody, and it's based on those characteristics you deserve what I call as rights in society. You following me so far? For example, you feel hunger, you have the right to food. You value your body and your bodily autonomy. You have the right to not be harmed. So it's again based on that. Now, what I am doing is I am just trying to find out what are the commonalities between human rights and also other organisms that exist among us in society which just don't happen to be human. For example, take a dog. Me and a dog are biologically very different, but we both feel hunger. Now, I will not fight in animal rights and say we have to give dogs and rats the right to vote. We have to give them the right to education. That's craziness. But they too value their life like how we value our lives. They too value their bodily integrity. They too care and nurture for their young, just the same way we do for ours. So I am only asking us to extend the rights that they too embody. You get it? The characteristics that make you human, they are not the same body, but they embody some of those characteristics. You get my point? And that is what I'm saying we should give them rights for. Do you get my explanation, or do you have any queries on that?
But then how do we exactly know that they have the same value as humans? Because if we say a human and then we say a dog, if we were to say that, what would you kill, a human or a dog? Let's not take a dog. Some people may say a dog. Let's take some other example, like a goat or maybe a chicken. So a human or a chicken. And if we had to make a choice, and there is no neutrality in this case, so if I were to kill a human or a chicken, I would prefer killing a chicken.
Right. So, okay, I can understand your opinion in that dichotomy. Yeah, that's what you're presenting me. Let's say, first of all, if I were in a similar situation, my first question would be, who is the human? It's my wife, I'll save my wife. Because I have preference in that regard. If it's a random human being and a chicken, the chicken is my friend who's been growing up with me in my family all along, I'm saving the chicken. Because that time bias does come in. I want to just impart that bias does exist here. But let's say a chicken I don't know and a human I don't know. You guys might hate me for saying this. I'm going to be very honest. Is that human a vegan or a non-vegan?
I do not.
In your example, in your hypothetical example, I can save only a chicken or a human being. Is that human a vegan or a non-vegan? Non-vegan. Let's just keep. I'm saving the chicken for sure.
But then that is an assumption that he is a vegan.
No, so I'm asking you, since you're the one building the hypothetical scenario, I'm asking you, can we assume in this scenario that the human being in your example happens to be?
We do not know because it is.
I'm asking you, bro, because you're the one creating the hypothetical scenario. So you tell me, can we, okay, let's assume both. If this person is a non-vegan, definitely I'm not saving the human.
Let's take both cases.
Okay, if it's a non-vegan, not saving. If it's a vegan, I'll probably, if they're my, then I'm saving the vegan there. Yeah, probably yes.
What about the non-vegan?
Definitely not, because I want to now, because if I save that non-vegan and I let the chicken die, this person is going to come back into society and start killing even more chickens. That's the honest reality. I am not hateful. I am just speaking. Okay, if you could save a chicken or say a who would you save? Chicken?
What is the question again?
If you had to choose between a chicken or a who would you save?
Perhaps the rape.
Okay, well, okay, in my mind, okay, I see that someone who doesn't respect the fundamental rights of a fellow human being or a fellow animal, why should I care about their rights at all? I mean, if a person is a peaceful person, then I believe that human beings should be given rights. This is not how I behave in society, obviously. I don't go around doing these things.
But this is very much based on the assumptions of morality. This does not, tell us that they have equal value. We are only basing it off assumptions.
Okay,
that
sure.
It is.
So I will tell you where, okay, if you ask me where I draw the distinction here, the word we vegans use is called as sentience. Have you heard of it? In French, it comes from a French word called sentir, which means to basically feel. If there is an organism that is sentient, meaning that they can feel pain, they can feel suffering, and they can actually love and joy, those feel emotions as well, and they are conscious in this world around us, then I believe this organism also living with us in human society deserves certain fundamental rights. And the only fundamental right I'm asking is, they have the right to not be exploited for human use. It's not about killing, it's not about, this organism basically, they are not an object. That's what I'm talking about. And again, if you ask me, where do I get morality from? Objective morality, I am saying it doesn't exist. This universe is chaos, nothing makes sense. That is reality, what I see it as. But in society, we don't go by Darwinian rule. In Darwinian rule, it's survival of the fittest, right? But if that were the case, we would go, then any action done by any dictator, any terrorist, any violent person is also survival of the fittest. But in human society, we condemn that because we have stepped away from the jungle, built our own little place here and said, you know what, we're going to have rules here because we can think cognitively more than these other creatures in the jungle there. So we form rules, and I just want to extend that rule and say, let's also add the fact that cows, chickens, pigs, fish, goats, ducks and sheep are also not objects or things or commodities. They are living, breathing, feeling, sentient beings just like us humans, and let's just leave them alone. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying that we should be friendly to them. I'm not saying that each person should adopt now a chicken and keep in their house now. Just leave them be. That is my point.
That is not so convincing again, but okay.
That is not so, I'm sorry?
That is not so convincing because again, we are not, talking about the value. Like, how do we exactly even compare the value? Like, that does not explain
Sure,
the
but that's what I'm
value
asking you. Okay,
of
let's
it.
take, for example, again, I hope you'll all get a chance. Don't worry if you can just stay back a bit. We'll maybe, hopefully, another 5-6 minutes we can wrap it up because I want to make sure we give
Yes.
us a chance as well. See, I'm sorry, your point was right now what? I'm sorry, you said
The value. How do we know the value?
okay,
of
now
them?
how do we know that a man
Compare
and a woman
them.
is the same? Biologically, both are not the same. There are quite a lot of differences. So,
What was the
based on
question?
how do we know that a male human being and a female human being have to be given equal rights in society? Because biologically, both are not the same. Quite a lot of distinctions. How do we know that a North Indian and a South Indian are the same? We are biologically quite a bit different. Not so much, but there is enough difference between us to make distinctions. So when it comes to human beings, you look at the commonalities, you look at the similarities, and then you say, okay, because we have the same similarities, I like to eat, I like to go back home to my family, I work, I have children, I progress in life, I die. It's not much, but that's what we humans do, right? But I meet a human from another part of the planet, and that person, despite looking different, thinking different, having different religious beliefs, does those exact same things. Me and that person can coexist because despite our differences, there are commonalities. Now the point is that we too have many common things with animals, which is basically pain, suffering, love, and joy. Animals are basically like human children. Okay, they're not too great up here, right? Especially the domestic ones which we have raised in society, they are completely dependent upon us. They are innocent and vulnerable, like I said in the end. So therefore, we must, as human beings, protect them. Be their protector and savior, not their exploiter. It's based on the similarities that I am saying that they too deserve rights for those aspects. Like I told you, I'm not saying we have to give a chicken the right to vote. That's madness. I'm not saying we have to bring pigs to this class and say equality for pigs, make them all study and open the textbooks. That's madness. But just don't stab a knife in their throat. That's fair, I think, to ask. Do you get where I'm coming from, or no?
It is okay. This is a bit convincing, but it is, again, I will disagree on certain points, but then I have to phrase them well, which I cannot right now.
Okay, so fair enough. If I can ask you just one question before we pass the mic, my question to you would be, again, if we were to take right now humans from different political backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, who look completely different, and we put them all in a room, and it was like given that you have to right now, you are the chief minister of that particular place, you have to right now form a society with all these 100 people. They all come from random places. However, you have a common language so you can communicate. Okay, different styles, everything. How do you do that? Because they are different. But how do you form a community there? Based on what do you feel the society should be formed?
Perhaps it cannot be formed in that case. If everything is so different, then maybe it cannot be formed.
We exist here today. Different religious backgrounds. Everything is different about us.
Then we need a common language. We need some common
Yes, the common language exists. Say it's hypothetically English. It exists.
It exists. Then it is possible to communicate.
How do you do it then? Yeah. On what basis do you do?
Communicate on what basis?
On what basis do you form the rules? Like, okay, you do this, you do that, we'll live this way. How do we form unity?
It is a rather common consensus that we have. It does not essentially always have a logical reasoning behind it, but we still form it because we feel that it is correct.
Okay. We form it because, number one, when we work together, we can profit from it, because as a species, when we work together, we survive much better. That's number one. We are aware of that. Second thing is what I'm saying, please to think about this. It is because we pull out the common factors in between us, and therefore, based on that, we assign ourselves rights. That's what happens. So that's pretty much my answer to you. I guess at this point, we have to pass the mic to other people as well, because I think they're getting bored as well. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you so much for your questions. Yeah.